Rustic Films just keeps pulling off some of the wildest content in indie horror.
I am going to die tomorrow.
She Dies Tomorrow is the newest film by all-around badass Amy Seimetz. It stars Caitlin Scheel as Amy, a young woman who is convinced that she is going to die tomorrow. She doesn't know how, it's just a feeling, but she knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that tomorrow is her last day on Earth. And every single person she tells about it begins feeling the same immediate sense of impending doom. There have been a few films during the pandemic that have been weirdly prophetic of the pandemic. And there were films like Host that were filmed during the pandemic and took full advantage of being filmed in a pandemic. And while She Dies Tomorrow is definitely the former, weirdly foretelling a lot of our current world experience in a weirdly spooky way, it's also a very cathartic film, one that feels very personal to Amy Seimetz, given its poignant depictions of anxiety and the fact that it comes from a perspective that is clearly someone who's experienced it themselves. And ultimately that's what this movie is, a surrealist take on anxiety. If you're someone like me who has pretty crippling anxiety, then you will relate to this movie on some level, and you'll probably relate to it on a deeper level than the average viewer. This movie made me feel seen. There's this strange phenomenon with anxiety where logic and rationale go out the window when confronted with a single anxious thought, because your brain can always shut that logic down with, well yeah, but what if? What if I am going to die tomorrow? And then you proceed to self-destruct in whatever way you so choose. And that's what this movie is, just a 90-minute voyeuristic experience of watching people crumble under anxiety. It's a testament to the infectious nature of an idea and the tendency of an anxiety to work with ideas to create this oppressive negative force that ropes in everybody around you. There's a cosmic absurdity to it, especially if you do suffer from mental illness and you look at it from an outside perspective. There is something cosmically funny about it. And Seimetz plays that up using a lot of comedic repetition to hammer home the idea that this is all just one great big cosmic joke. And this movie is just as much of an existentially sad film as it is an absurdist comedy. On a technical level, it works phenomenally. There's some stunning camera work and some really great moody choices in regards to its scene structure and its editing. Seimetz makes the choice of repeat plays of the Lacrimosa movement from Mozart's Requiem, accompanied with flashing otherworldly lights that lend to this idea of a divine prophecy that may or may not actually be happening in the eyes of the people who believe they're about to die. And it creates this wholly surreal, dreamlike experience that's more akin to watching a mumblecore film than a strict linear story.
Amy, I'm really freaking out right now.
I feel like you put this idea of dying in my head. Can you just call me back?
What I think is most interesting about She Dies Tomorrow, though, is its musings on the concept of human mortality. As a species, we're terrified of the idea that we are going to die someday, and it causes us all to act in completely different ways just as a means of coping. Some people shut down completely and cut themselves off from everyone around them because what's the point of even living life if you're just going to die? Whereas other people will take their incoming death as a means to live life to its fullest before they die, because you have to make the best of the time you have. So if you're convinced you're going to die tomorrow, what are you going to do? Are you going to spend it wallowing with your loved ones? Or are you going to take your last day to do all the things you wanted to do in life that you regret not doing? When you let that anxiety dominate you, who's to say you won't do something morally reprehensible that you were afraid of doing while you were living, because there was a promise of tomorrow and there was a promise of repercussions? Would you act without fear of repercussions? What I find interesting about this movie is that it explores all the different facets of how people respond to mortality. And in this environment where the world feels like it's ending every fucking day and anxiety and depression are the norm and the news is constantly fear-mongering, and we feel like talking to anybody about our anxieties is just going to cause them to be dragged down with us, She Dies Tomorrow serves as a very interesting, cool outlet for those feelings. It's just an artistic mind showing what that mind experiences in our current world, which I think is truly fucking excellent and so fascinating to watch. It never outright condemns or supports the idea of living this way. Rather, it just showcases it, and it illustrates the danger of letting your anxieties control you, all while conveying a strange, bittersweet message akin to that of It Follows. You're probably not going to die tomorrow. You're probably not going to die anytime soon, but you are going to die eventually. So what are you going to do with that time? Are you going to sit and be anxious about it constantly and ruin the rest of your life? Or are you going to live before you die and actually do the things you want to do while you still have the time to do them? I need to applaud Amy Seimetz and the guys at Rustic Films for delivering such a weird, adventurous, strange insight into a director's mind like this. It's weird and it's an existentially unnerving project, but it has a lot of heart to it. I'm gonna say that She Dies Tomorrow is a must-see. It's this surreal, dreamy journey through the mindset of anxiety, and it's not interested in telling you a clear-cut story. It's just here to make you feel a mood. And I think it works exceptionally well at doing that. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, click down there, like, comment, subscribe. There's a Patreon link down in the description if you want to donate to this channel, help us grow, make new, better quality content for you all to enjoy. You could be like all these cool people right here. I would really appreciate it, and even $1 would help. There's all sorts of cool new rewards, anything from access to my private Discord server where we talk about horror movies, to gifts sent right to your door once a month. If any of that interests you, please consider donating. I would really appreciate it, but even if you don't, thank you so much for watching anyway, and I will see you all very soon.
She did this, did this, did this.